It's my pleasure.
I am very much looking forward to this. You came highly recommended, so I think it would be awesome if we could just start with just basics. Anything that you think is important to share, maybe where you're from, a little bit of your like upbringing and background, if there's anything big that stands out, anything monumental that would make sense to share with the audience, just so we get an idea of who you are.
It's one of those, like when you look back, you can see that you've always been doing it one way or another. And I'm sure lots of people will identify with that when you go, yeah, of course. So, for example, I can remember being very small and looking at everybody and wondering if they were real or robots. And I must have been about 5 and actually studying everybody and then checking my hands out and check and seeing how many fingers I had and why did they work, that kind of thing. And I used to then go outside and I used to talk to my friends who I thought were fairies, which saying it as an adult, someone would probably go, "Ooh, woo." But to me, they were real. I could see them. So there were small ones and big ones. And the big ones I later learnt were angels, but I thought they were just very large fairies. I've since learnt that fairies do come in all kinds of sizes, the fae, and there's more to it. But as a child, I thought nothing of just going out and having a conversation. So I was never actually really alone, and I can hear trees talking. So I would have a chat with the trees. I could hear animals, so I'd be chatting with them. And I didn't think anything of it. And it's not until you start going to school and you start looking at everybody else and you think, maybe this isn't something you should do. And you learn to be very quiet. And, there's lots and lots of different things used to happen all the time. I was brought up right near Horsell Common, which is from War of the Worlds, where the Martians landed, and I actually lived right near the common. And it's bizarre to think now that I can channel different beings from different places. You just think, where's spirit plonked you? You sort of put yourself here and you think, why did I choose to be born
Yes.
here? And then you start pieces together and you're like, this is crazy. And I mean, some people probably still think I'm a bit different, but
This audience
um,
won't, don't worry.
and I mean, all the jobs that I've done, all the work that I was sort of different work, your paid jobs that you've done, from when I left school or even before I left school, when you get your Saturday job or whatever, all of those were teaching me to do what I'm doing now. It's just when can sit back, I can see how it's all training for me. So I've worked with children, I've worked with elderly, and now I'm working a lot more with adults. Um, but equally, I looked with animals, I looked after people's animals, and all these things. I looked after plants, and all these things were all helping me to understand the world that I was placed in.
Mm.
So um, when I think about it now, it's just wow, how did all this come together? So in recent years, obviously, we all do a lot of shadow work, don't we?
Yes.
One way or another, we're all working on trying to improve our understanding of ourselves and defining who we are, which is really important. Um, I really like to encourage that in children so they feel empowered. I'm known for when I was working with children, taking them off piste, as it were, because I could see that certain things were not working. So I just like to just put them off piste. Which, if you look how learning's supposed to be, that's how it should be anyway. It should be tailored to each individual.
Yes.
Um, and there's lots of other things. I did have a nickname for quite a long time of being Witchy Poo, they used to call me,
Oh,
because I just sometimes know things. You just know something and you're not quite sure where you know it from or how, but you just know it. And you can just give an answer and you think, I don't know where that come from. I don't know who told me. So obviously in recent years, I've carried on doing working through shadow work and working to find out who you are, because about 12 years ago, I was widowed, and I realized I didn't actually know who I was. I didn't actually know who Donna is. I'd kind of put myself in a box and closed the lid just to carry on with life, don't you?
Mhm.
So then I've spent the last 12 years working out who I am, and then been a bit surprised.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh. So um, after doing many years of trying to do, just working through and learning how each part of your life is a lesson, and how you're learning and it's mirroring back and so on. There was just a little bit I couldn't quite grasp, and I was encouraged by a friend to contact a lady who did, or still does. She does like channeled messages, but they're like guidance, but it's actually like having a coach.
Hmm.
So she actually sets homework and things to do. And I discovered that I'm a galactic builder. And so
Interesting.
I build, I build with energy, which is why maths, forget it. I'm not mathematical. And when I sort of questioned it, it was like, well, why would you need maths?
Hmm.
You don't build with maths. That's a human thing. And I thought that I was gabbling in, you know, I was gabbling away all these different languages. In fact, when I was 12, I shut myself down because a boy was picking on me, and I just came out with this string where he just looked at me like, and I didn't know what to say. So I just looked at him and went, "It was Russian." And I walked off very fast because I didn't know what I'd said. It just came out as this long
Wow.
string. And then I shut it down, not consciously. You just close it off because you
Mm.
don't really want to stand out, do you? You know? And
Yes.
I think I've realized that spirit did everything it possibly could to make me stand out
Wow.
instead of being able to hide away. And I did as much as I could to hide away.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this work that I've been doing, it's just been actually sitting back and going, well, I'm a builder. And it's just one of your incarnations. Obviously, we have many, but I haven't had that many here.
Hmm.
I've sort of been in many other places, and it starts to make sense then. But to be a builder, you need to speak different languages. You need to go to different planets, like you go to different countries. So you need to speak all the languages. And then it was explained to me that's why I can speak lots of different languages, because I would have needed to. And I would have needed to be able to change my shape to fit the place I was working, or the place where they wanted assistance. So I'm part of the team that was there to build the pyramids and other structures like that, to guide humans into how to build. So when you start to think of that, you're like, that's just amazing, isn't it? You just can't quite get your head around it. But
Yeah.
I can see it. So it kind of pulled other things together where I could see geometry on land. So if somebody asked me, is there anything here? I could look around and say, oh, as an energy portal there. Would you like me to open it for you? And I finding myself opening it. And I went, I don't know how I know how to do that, but I just do. Different places, I can remember certain things from certain times. But then there are other occasions where there's like other lives where I see like a movie and I understand it, but I know I've not actually lived it. So some people would pick it up and think that's a past life, but it isn't. It's called an overlay. So it's just something it's almost like going into a training room where you learn a situation. So when you come here, it helps you to understand. So it's just, yeah, it's all very exciting. Just recently, um, I had an archangel come to me to give me geometry. Would I draw it up? And I was thinking, I don't do straight lines. I'm like, oh, I have to get a ruler out and everything. And I was like, oh my goodness, how do I do this? And he just said, well, just trust me. So I just sat, I drew around a plate, get me circle. And I went, right, okay, I've got my ruler. And then he just started talking. So I just started doing what he asked me to do. And it was Archangel Uriel. and I was doing a workshop with a friend in a shop in town, a lovely shop called Celestial Heart, and we were doing an angel day there. So we hadn't really had any plan, and I was just talking to her about what we were going to do. And I just said, "You need some geometry, don't you?" And I said, "I think I'll do some geometry." And I walked out the shop thinking, what am I saying? I haven't got a clue how to draw it. I might be able to see it, but I don't know how to draw it. And I was just told to sit down, and I was given, and it was to bring light to for people where darkness falls.
Wow.
And I just had to draw it all out. And I had to write his name in Hebrew. He wanted his name in Hebrew, and I had to write it in the correct sequence as well. So, instead of how we normally write, you write the opposite way around. So it was like, oh gosh, that's going to tax my brain, you know, right to left instead of left to right, and actually write it in Hebrew. So I had to research how to write Archangel Uriel in Hebrew. And when you actually look it up, you'll find lots of geometry with it. And I was looking at all the geometry, thinking it looks nothing like what I've drawn. And he said, "Well, who says that's right?" And I
Mm.
went, "Yeah." So he said, "So do you trust me?" So I was like, "Yes." So he said, "So what you've done is right. I'm not saying what that there you see is wrong, but in this context, this is the right one." And I was like, "Okay, consider myself topped off."
Wow.
So I've since we're doing another workshop where I'm doing about crystal grids, because I don't do those necessarily in a conventional way, because I've been told that's because it's builder knowledge. So I'm here showing you how to work to create energy. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna show you how to do it, but it'll be Donna style, because I'm very much about using your intuition. So I like you to tune in. And if you're someone that doesn't work with crystals, I'll just get you to close your eyes, hold one, and chat, because I can channel crystals. They talk to me. So I can channel information from them. So I believe everybody can. It's flipping a switch of that. And it's that fear thing, isn't it? And the doubt and all of that. And I don't always follow what it says, the properties, it can give you this, it can give you that. I've discovered with time that I can pick one up and go, no, this is the right one for you. It's this one. Well, I've given a little piece of information. So when I activate light codes, it's not something I charge for. It's given as a gift. And I was told I can do it en masse. So I can do it with you. And then if anybody wishes to have the same, and it'll be whatever is right for them. So when I do it one to one, I'll be channeling the message through for you. And I asked, how would I do that for anyone that happens to come on and see it and just put their hand up? And they said they will give me the language to activate whoever. And what spirit does, or the teams do, they will get, it's like your team joins up with mine, if that makes
Interesting.
sense.
Yes.
And
Yes.
because I tend to get told, and because I never advertised it ever. I was at a healing weekend festival in Somerset, and someone was struggling with something, and I said, "Well, can I hold your hands a minute?" So I held their hands, and I was told what to do. So I just started speaking, and I'm looking. When I opened my eyes, they were like, and I said, "Oh, so it's light language." I said, "But I've just lit up your light." I just see symbols and things going up the arms and around the body. So I just said, "Oh, I've just activated you." I said, "It's in you. It sits waiting to be switched on, if you like." So I said, "I've just flipped the switch." And they told me, because I did ask, what happens if someone comes back a second time? And they said they're just ready for the next bit. So when you feel like it's almost like you need a little boost or something, you can do it. But I can talk you through how to just sort of energize it for yourself. And interestingly, I've never needed to have it done for me. Nobody's ever offered it. And people just started turning up to find me and saying, "Can you do me light codes?" and holding their hands out. And I thought, is that what I'm doing then? Because I didn't give it a name.
I
I
guess
just
this
was
is
doing
it.
it. Give us your hands. Can I hold your hands for a minute?
Wow.
So I just feel like it's something to activate people, to motivate them, or to lift them forward on the next step on their journey. And if we all could be lit for the next bit of the journey, then surely it's going to be a better place because you're going to lift the energy up. And it's the same with Atlantean collars. I can see them, and I find people will be talking to me, and then they'll happen to say something. And as they speak, so it lights up, and then I'll be looking at them thinking, what, you really want me to do this now? And it's like, do it now. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
So you're looking at a complete stranger thinking, can I take your Atlantean collar off, please? And they look at you like, what's one of those? I will, do you trust me? And they go, strangely, yes. And I go, well, let me take it off then.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
Fascinating.
if you're in Atlantis, it doesn't appear to be everybody, but a lot of people that were in Atlantis times, and when Atlantis fell, it kind of restricts how much information and that you can retrieve and share for your own welfare, so you're not persecuted so much. So it's like time to come off.
Wow.
If somebody comes to me, say they book a healing with me, so I teach Seichim, and I teach it in Intuitive Seichim, which is, they call it Egyptian, like Egyptian Reiki, but to me, it's Atlantean. So because that's its place of origin, because I feel all healing is several layers of one thing. Healing is healing at the end of the day, but
Yes.
we have to give it a name, don't we?
Hmm.
So I teach Seichim, but I've also trained to do Atlantean healing, which to me is just another level of and crystal healing and so on. So I just kind of put everything together anyway. And I can be working with them doing some healing, and I don't normally touch. I could just do it with my eyes closed. The trouble is I can see your energy, so I tend to walk into walls. I've had to now remember to open my eyes every now and again so I don't try and walk through the wall. Because
Wow.
that's not one of my gifts. I can't walk through walls, not yet anyway.
It's
So
coming.
I've learned, I've learned. I mean, the times I've walked into my treatment room, gone boom into the wall and gone, oops, because I can see they're either a bigger being than they know they are, or I can flip like a Rolodex through your lives, and it will stop at where I need to go and work on that particular time, that lifetime, that one needs some healing, or there's something they're holding back the current day. But I don't always get that. It just depends. But if I see as I'm working a collar, I would just sort of ask, if you're having a lovely relaxing time, I don't want to disturb you, so I'll ask your higher self, please can I remove it? And if I get a yes, I will remove it, but I do it with your team.
Wow.
So I don't see your past loved ones. That's, I'm on a different radio station.
Hmm.
So, I just very rarely, it's occasionally, but it's extremely rare. I usually see the beings that are there to support you, whether it's angels or animal spirit guides, whoever it is, but it's those beings because that's the radio station that I'm tuned in on.
Hmm.
That makes
Makes
sense.
sense.
It's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it
makes
doesn't make
complete
sense to
sense.
people, does it? And it's when someone books a reading, I go, if you want me to predict your future, you've come to the wrong person because I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I don't work in that way. I can read tarot, but I don't read tarot as tarot. I read them like oracle cards because to me, they're a tool to tune in.
Yes.
So the images have to be right for me. So if the images are right, as I'm very visual, I will look at the image and get the message that way.
You're the second person that I've spoken to in the last like 2 weeks that mentioned tarot, and she said the same thing. She's been reading tarot for like 35 years, but she doesn't use like the guidebook. She just reads each
I've
card
got a clue.
intuitively. Yeah.
I haven't got a clue how you read tarot. And I don't give negative messages because I'm not given them.
Yes.
I'm given there's an obstacle, but this is how we're going to get around it. This is the mental attitude you need. This is what you need. However, if you wish to get to the next bit, which is here, and you wish to feel like this, then this is the way to navigate it. It's your choice. It's your free will. And that's how I work. And it's the same when I'm teaching, if I'm teaching healing or I teach oracle card reading, I will give you a general guide of what roughly colors might mean or animals, whatever you see in a picture. But then I go, but it might not mean that to you. So next to it, write what it means to you because you're the person reading, not me.
I love
And
that.
it's the same if I was to read for you, I would hold the card up and say to you, right, this is the message I'm getting. However, what stands out for you? What can you see? And you would have a look at it and say, well, actually, that means this to me. So that's part of the reading. And that's why if I read, I take a picture of the cards and send it to you. So you then will go away and look at it and go, oh gosh, that also means this. And I'm forever saying to everyone, you know, you're a walking master. You know, you're a huge being because you're just here. You're here.
Yes,
You-
that's right.
It was said to me once, the bigger the being, the harder the challenge. And it made absolute sense to me because if you think about it, if you're a really big, powerful light being and you come here, you're going to feel so disempowered and so small that you think you're insignificant.
Mm.
And it's in fact the opposite. It is quite interesting. It's like I see color on, I see everything in glorious technicolor. I thought everybody did until a few years ago. Like I can see when plants have had water because they glow like there's like a violety light that comes off them
Mm.
and a bluey light. And I thought everyone saw that. And I was just looking out in my garden actually a couple of years ago and I said, look at the lovely colours coming off those. And everyone's looking at me blank. And I went, can't you see? And it wasn't till somebody else explained, and they said, "No, Donna, not everyone will see that." I was like, oh,
Wow.
yeah. So it's just, I just look around at everybody and just think, how amazing are we all?
Yes,
Got
yes.
things that we can do. I can't do things a lot of other people can do. So,
What
yeah.
what does it look like? Like how you were saying you can tell when a plant hasn't been watered. Um,
Mm.
what do you see when there's someone that's, had a lot of trauma or hasn't done a lot of inner work, or does that look completely different to someone that has? Yeah.
Like you're looking through like a mist almost. It sort of feels quite clunky and heavy.
Mm,
Um, I suppose a good example of that is it's a different way of thinking of it, but every day I ask to be put in God's armor,
hmm,
and it'll be whatever protective suit. But over the years, it's changed and it's continually changing. But when I was first told about that and I tried it, I felt like I was clunking about in a medieval suit of armor. It felt clunky because that's where I was at. I was at that sort of clunky, heavy stage because I was still working through stuff. Whereas now it's like just liquid and it just pours on. And every so often it changes again because we're continually changing. And I'll be going, I'm this color today. This is great. Oh, I like my armor today. So it's that would be the way I would describe it. So you get someone they're either just they've I get some people that come, they say they'd like healing. They don't really want it because they
mm,
quite like the attention they get from not being well. So I know as soon as they walk in and I think, no, they don't want any healing today. They just need a bit of relaxation. And so that's what they're going to get today because it's just going to bounce back. There's no point me doing anything else. And you can see it in their energy. It's almost like it's closed.
hmm.
It's almost like outwardly it's, yeah, I'm really open. And inwardly it's door shut, nobody's coming in.
Oh,
You can feel the
interesting.
heaviness of it and
Mm.
the denseness of it because it's like, and I won't interfere. It's the same if somebody's chakra system is very 3D. I just leave it at that and just make sure it's nice and sparkly and running.
Something I wanted to ask you when you were just talking about your story in your childhood, did anyone in your family ever display or share with you that they also had these gifts and abilities? Were you the only one?
No, I was the only one.
Okay.
It wasn't until maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, there was a lady that I'd met that was doing. She sort of did readings, but where she connected with your past loved ones.
Hmm.
And she said, "Oh, God, can I do one for you?" And she happened to connect him with my nan, my grandmother. And she said, "Oh, she said she had the knowing, but in her day, you didn't talk about it." So
Yeah.
that's the only bit of that I've ever heard of. And we do look very alike. We
Huh.
did look. So
Interesting.
um, so that's the only place I could think I could have got it from. Otherwise, most of it is just for me.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone. And I used to think I was doing everything wrong because I was doing things different. When you sort of look around and you go, I couldn't fit in a circle. So I'd go and sit, you go to church or you go to these different places and I didn't fit.
Hmm.
But I've also learned that my energy is an energy that will challenge people to face their dark spaces. And of course, I dare say, if you don't really want to, I'm probably not someone you want to be friends with. And that's not me doing it on a conscious. I didn't know my energy did that. I had no idea. But it's just, and I think there's quite a few of us around that our energy does that. And we're like, well, why have they just disappeared? What did I say? And you haven't said anything. It's
No,
just, it's highlighted something in them and they don't
that they're
particularly
not
want to
ready
deal with
for. Yeah, that makes
that.
total
They just
sense.
think,
Yes.
oh.
Yeah. I want to touch on your paintings. So you channel all kinds of beings, and you sent me paintings that you have personally done. There were two Native Americans. One was wearing a headdress. You sent me a blue being, and then you also sent me like the blue being kind of looked like extraterrestrial. And then you showed me or you sent me a white dragon. And they're all stunning. I'm gonna clip them all into this video so people can see them. Tell me how that came about. I mean, did you know that you could paint before you started doing this?
I've always drawn and
Okay.
always like, a little bit of painting, but um, it was just for me, and I would do, occasionally someone would say, oh, could you paint that for me, Donna? And I'd have a go and I'd paint it. Um, but this was different. So I don't have, I don't keep copies of anything that I do because they're one-offs.
Hmm.
So I mean, at the moment, I just can't take any more orders because I'm still catching up with people who are waiting perhaps 2 years, to
Wow.
get their pictures because I can't produce because they're channeled. So I have to do it when they're ready. I
Yes.
will say dragons are the most impatient. And that particular dragon was coming to me and waking me up through the night for a good month or so. And in the end, I had to tell him that if he didn't back off, I wasn't painting him. That was the only way I could do it. And he backed right off and waited. And the same with the Native American Indian chief. He he's the person that asked me to paint him wanted him face on, and he would not comply.
Hmm.
And he insisted side view only, and he kept showing me his nose. And I had to, and actually, he actually showed me, was flicking on internet and on pictures, showing me his nose. He's going, it's my nose. I had to get the nose right. And I drew all his nose. And if you get it right, they come closer and I can see more. So
Wow.
it's the same with guardian angels. I've had those and I can see them in the distance and I get a rough idea of how they look or how they wish to present themselves to the person that they're going to. Um, But then as I start to draw it out, so they get closer. And so the picture starts to change because it's like they paint it with you. So some where I've got light language on there, and I didn't know what was going to go round there, and it was a wooden heart, and I just started putting, thinking I was going to sign my name, and I ended up with this string of like text going all the way round. And when I went to read it, I was told not for you to read, it's for the person it's going to. So I went, absolutely fine.
Mm.
And so then I will always I sit on my laptop and I will say, right, okay, so what are we going to tell this person then? And then they will chat while I'm typing. So I'll just type in what they want, wish for them to know, pull a card, and normally the card backs up what they've just told me anyway. So I'll put the card in as well. And
That's
I just sort of keep
awesome.
it lay for shit, because they just want, there's something they want to say.
Yeah.
So if they
Message.
to
Wow.
say, they do. And it's the same. We did a workshop recently. Like I said, we did an angel day in my friend's shop, and it's a lovely place. And I went to one side to do light codes, and then I had a little piece of, I had some like note paper with me, and I'd never done it this way before. So I activated their light codes, and then they gave me the message to write on the card for
Wow.
that person to take away with them to help them understand, what they were doing and who they were. So some it would tell them exactly who they are and why they've got, the gifts or interests that they have while they're incarnated here. And it was not what I was expecting to, how it was expecting it to come out. That's just how it came out. So I was like, hold on a minute, I've just got to write this down and I'll talk to you in a minute. I was actually trying to write it down, you know.
Wow.
So it was really a fascinating day. I do not watch the news.
Mm.
Um, and if anyone starts telling me anything negative or anything, I'll stop them and say, okay, so do you want to create that or shall we flip it on its head? So I like them to think of what's happening and go, now flip it. How would you like it to be?
Mm.
Picture that instead, because it's ever so easy to get caught down this bunny hole, if you like, where you're like, oh, and then this is going up and then that's going up. And I said, well, just picture it that you've got enough of everything, and because you create the life you live. So what do you want to create? What do you want to build? Says the builder. Would you like me to do your light codes for you?
I would love to.
I'd like to hold your hands up. So if you want to hold your hands up, and I'm going to connect with you, and then we'll see what comes through. And then what I'm asking is that it's for anybody else that wishes to have theirs activated, but it's down to their free will. So it's their choice. Okay. So if you're ready. Ira shuri am kakia shunyotar am warakat. Amoya chatina morkata. Yaira yamunyador yamurim boko nyashira kamakana. Ira yanutur kofishonudu bi baranya a yata a. Ilaruja Junobru Ilaya Toyana Ikananuja. It is done. It is done. So what I'd like you to do is give your hands a little shake. And then if you want to activate it further, feel it before you do something, maybe something like this. Just rub your hands together just so you can feel it. And you should feel it kind of goes up your arms and you should feel it. So they just come through, and that is spirit. So I've asked for one being for all. So this was an angel that came through. So I just, no name, they just come through as white because they are universal angel, universal angel. That's what they've said, universal. But I feel like okay. So there's this is combination of energies. So we have Gabriel energy mixed, well, not mixed, but they blend the energy together because it's all one. So I've got Mary,
Mm.
Mother Mary energy in there as well. And with Mother Mary, it's always Magdalene, and you've always got, like Kuan Yin and Isis, all that energy. But also there's a learning energy here, but it's actually Zadkiel is what I'm being given. Yeah, an Arcturian. Okay, Arcturian. So that's together. So they're working together for this specific for today. Anybody that wishes to just hold their hands up at the time, just to help them switch them. They're basically switching their own lights on.
Wow.
So the team come in to do it for you and just to start you off, and then you're doing it yourself because it's through your intention, it's through your energy and your willingness to move forward. So just make sure you drink water afterwards, and just enjoy and make a note. Maybe keep a little journal or note about things that you learn, things that you dream, things that you feel, and see where it takes you because it's just linking you in with yourself.
This was incredible. I've been crying this whole time. I don't know what it was when you said, well, I could absolutely feel it going up my arms. That was, I can feel energy, but that was a sensation that I've never felt before.
Yeah,
Um,
so you'll have it around here as well because I see the symbols around here. So if I tune into you, I can look and I can see where the symbols. It's like writing. It's like light language, if you like. You've also got it all across here.
huh.
So it's all writing. So it's all round. So it's just, but it's yours. So someone else will come up and do it and go, oh, actually, I feel this or I feel that. It's just like anything. We're all different and we're all different beings, and we've all, well, majority of us have incarnated in various places, and we'll have all little bits of energy from all different places wherever our soul has sort of had a little journey, and it's that energy that you're tapping back into because you're bringing all of your gifts back in together. It's like you're going back online. It's
Yeah.
like we've all been off of it, so now we're all coming back online, aren't we? We're like, oh, hang on, I'm just bringing that bit of me back in, and now I'll bring that bit in. But
Yes.
you've just got to be ready to receive it, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely. I will have your links to everything in the description for people to find you. Is there anything else, any final words, any advice, anything else that you want to leave the audience with?
My advice would be yourself. Be yourself and don't worry if somebody else does something that you think is better than you because the chances are they're just different.
Yes.
So, don't judge yourself harshly. Be yourself because, you're amazing. You're here, and just be loving. And it starts with you first. And it's one of the hardest ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we all stand there and criticize, oh, I wish I looked like that, or I wish I could do this, or I wish this, wish that. And we actually forget that we chose this vehicle we're in
Yes.
to get about here. And how lucky are we?
Yes.
And everything that we have within it is, actually we're quite blessed. So it's actually appreciating the things that you can do that maybe no one else can, or someone can, but they just do it different. It's a healer for everybody. So, you know, I don't worry about teaching someone how to do something. I had someone teaching me healing many years ago who tried to withhold certain information because they felt worried that the students would take their business. And
Mm,
what happened was they lost theirs
mm,
because spirit took it because they weren't sharing. And actually, it's there's enough. There's somebody out there for everybody because everybody's energy is different. So you might have someone sitting with you that's really an Arcturian, or an Andromedan, and your energy is totally not quite right for them. But there's someone down the road, for example, who's perfect for them,
yes.
or they. So it's like being shamanic. I'm not so shamanic. I work more galactic angelic, but it doesn't really matter because that person that's shamanic might bring something for me that I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that about myself because I don't tune into that bit.
Yes.
So I think it's really, I just think just don't compare yourself with anybody else. Just be yourself.
Donna, this was incredible. It really was. I can't thank you enough for doing this. You are lovely. I really could just talk to you for hours. I really could. Thank you.
Well, you know where I am.
I do. Yes. You're not getting rid of me, Donna.